Welcome to Slasher Sunday. So tonight we're going to finish up the Prom Night franchise, the original Prom Night franchise with Prom Night 4, Deliver Us from Evil. Now I hope that this isn't a cut version of the film like this was, which I didn't find out until after I had reviewed the damn thing, which really pissed me off. So that's why cussing is edited out and there's no gore in the movie. I just thought there was some like ADR for some reason, and you don't know if gore is missing. So yeah, that's a bummer. So I didn't get to watch the proper version. I did not know this DVD came with some cut version, but this has to be the uncut version of this, or at least the R-rated version or whatever, because it has tits, a lot of F-bombs, so I can only imagine. You're getting fluffy, Jason, tonight. I did not want to go upstairs and do my hair, and I didn't feel like going and getting a hat, so you're going to have to deal with it. I'm a hairdresser. I look at my hair, and I feel like it needs to be done at all times. That's why I wear hats. So I'm like, I don't want anyone to see me undone. I only care about my hair. Very little else, maintenance-wise. But, so shout out to Christian Luciani from the Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, my personal favorite horror podcast. If you're looking for a horror movie podcast, make sure you check out mine, In the Mic of Madness, and then Exploding Heads. No, seriously, Exploding Heads is better. Go check out them before you check out my podcast. They're fucking amazing. I listen to them all the time, so... anyways, but he has this as his number 50 slasher of all time. They did a top 50 slasher list. It was like 7.5 hours long, so they really, really go in depth with their stuff. And that was actually the first show I ever listened to of theirs. That's what got me into them. But in there, he put this as his number 50, and he's gotten shit for it ever since. It's become a reoccurring joke on the show, so I had to bring it up. It was kind of my introduction to Christian. It was my introduction to the show, all of that. And man, those guys have kept me entertained for countless hours, and I really do love those dudes. I was actually just in a communication with Brandon. We were going back and forth, joking around with each other. He's trying to finish up his 2019 list so he can do his proper year-end show, which I need to get on. But I'm doing Slasher Sundays, and I'm doing Christmas marathons, and I'm doing like all the other movies I want to see this year. There's not enough time. There's not enough time. But all right, so does Christian have a good argument here that this should make the top 50 slashers of all time in North America? That was their criteria, North American slashers. So, it's better than the first one. I'm still down on the first. I do not like that first movie. And I think 2, 3, and 4 are all good. None of them are great. I'm not really sure which one I would say is the best. Probably Mary Lou. I would assume that, yeah, Hello, Mary Lou, Prom Night 2 is, but then I like this one. The biggest sin of this movie is the gore. There's, none. The kills are lame. And there's some cool stuff here, but for the most part, the kills are really lame. All right, so this starts with Hamilton High in 1957, so this is the same high school on the same year that Mary Lou is killed. So I guess these guys leave the prom early before her death. She's not there to my knowledge, but we're bringing it back to 1957, Hamilton High yet again. And yeah, I thought that was really an interesting year to go back to. I was just like, okay, why? But there you go. And I've got a bad feeling about this Star Wars line or that I'll be back Terminator line. We've got that in the Prom Night franchise, and that is, it's not who you come with, it's who you take home, or I've only heard it 4 fucking times now. It's who takes you home. I think that's what it is. That's their franchise line. It's been used in all 4 movies. I will be looking for it in the remake, which I don't even know if it's supposed to be technically a remake. I'll be curious, and if it's Hamilton High and whatnot, I'm gonna be really looking for some of these things. And no prom night movie is complete without Brock Simpson, who plays a young priest in this, priest Colin, who plays a very minor role within the film, but he is in all 4 of these movies. He is not in the remake when I looked at the credits. So you ain't a prom night movie unless you have this actor in it. So you got a killer priest, and he's killing sluts, as he likes to label them. He's captured by the church. I guess they just have a dungeon prison to keep him in, and then they keep him down there for 34 years. And we fast forward to 1991, and Colin the priest is talking to this girl, and he turns down pussy for heaven, which is actually ironic since pussy is heaven. So bad choice there, buddy. And you probably wouldn't have let that guy go, and you wouldn't have got killed, and you wouldn't have got all her friends killed, and you would have got laid. See? I don't know, man. It's not the way. Anyway, so I like when, before the 91, before they flash forward, how they capture the guy. I like that there seems to be supernatural elements going on in here. They're not really addressed, but they are there. I mean, this guy seems to have knowledge of this other priest's pedophilia, but he accuses him through the voice of another kid, which, I mean, he could have saw it. He could have walked in on it or peeped in on it and saw this kid who was having to blow his freaking priest or whatever. So that part's explainable, but then he starts bleeding from his hands like a stigmata, and does this a few times throughout the movie. So, and other things as well, but he absolutely seems to have some kind of supernatural power. He really is being sent by God to carry out these acts. At least he for sure thinks that anyways. Okay, but jumping back to 91, I forgot about the stigmata scene. And yeah, so he's just being held captive, and they're just drugging him right, left and center, for 34 years. They're just drugging him. I don't know why they don't just lock him in a cell and just, slipping pancakes under the door. But that's that. They have him drugged. I think that would kill him, trying to keep him out for that long, but it's a movie. Can't overthink it. And then I love Laura, the blonde friend in this movie. She's my kind of lady. She's wild. Now, she's not the kind of girl I'd want to date now. Well, maybe now. I don't know. If she's settled down with me and me alone, then yes. But yeah, I like her. She gets caught having sex with her boyfriend Jeff, sorry. And then she's in Mother Superior's office, and she's like, you guys were, and she's like, we were fucking. And then it hard cuts to Jeff being like in this total state of disarray, how could you? Come on, Jeff. I would have been like, yeah, high five right there, and I would have laughed my way right out of that damn school. And then, so I definitely dig her. And some of the music in this is pretty good, and then the rest of it's pretty generic, so it's kind of rocky on that. And then the dude who's the killer in this, 34 years passes, and he doesn't look any different. The dude comes down and shaves his beard in some dungeon cell. He does a really good job of it. He goes full Sweeney Todd on him, just kind of takes it right off, no problem. And he goes to cut his hair, but he doesn't chop that off. I was hoping to critique his cutting skills there, because they always have these perfect haircuts. I'm like, yeah, okay, sure, you did that in a freaking dungeon basement with no mirrors, no nothing. Get out of here. But he didn't. He left it long. But this guy looks exactly the same. I mean, no sunshine, a beard covering your face, and a holy water spritz I guess it keeps your skin moisturized and makes you look rejuvenated forever. And then, yeah, I already talked about all that. There's this creepy bro of Mark who's like spying on them, and he's like willing his actions into fruition. He's like, yeah, now rub her leg and take off her shirt. It's a really weird sequence, and the guy is actually like doing everything that he's telling him to do in that moment, but he can't hear him. He's a total creeper, and then he actually follows them like miles and miles out to film their sex scene. This guy's a real like weirdo character. And then the scene where Laura comes on to Megan. Now Megan is played by the actress who plays Levin in the Cube movie, first Cube movie of that trilogy. Really love that movie. So it was cool to see Levin here. I was like, I know her. And then I looked it up and was like, oh my goodness, the math whiz in Cube. Anyways, Laura comes on to Megan here, and she's doing it like as a joke, as we find out. Now, I'm not 100% if she was really doing it as a joke, but whatever it was, man, that scene was hot. That was a sexy ass scene, because I think both of them are pretty damn attractive. So her coming on to her friend and like slipping her finger under her bra strap and kissing on her and being like, you sure you don't feel anything? You sure you don't like any of this? Oh, I don't know. It really got me going. And then, yeah, I mean, it is prom night. So people are like, oh, well, they don't even go to prom. And it's like, that doesn't matter. Like, it's prom night. It is the night of prom. So they do get all dressed up and get a limo just to be drove out to a house just to fuck. Like, you got your hair done, you got that dress. Now I get it. It's like supposed to fool their parents, I suppose. But they go like the whole 9. And it's really just to give them the full 5. I should have said 6 so it would have been easier to know that it was a dick joke. But I don't know. These guys look like they're rocking 5s. Maybe 4s. I don't know. Although, with the way Laura reacts, I think Jeff might be packing a 9 himself. So he went to the 9s and got a 9 to bring the 9. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. All right. And then they also pick a wine out of the wine cellar after they found out the place has been ransacked. And they're like, oh my God, no one stole the wine. Well, of course they didn't steal the fucking wine. You had to break the lock open to get into the room. What do you think? They put the lock back on the door after they robbed the place? Come on. Anyway, but they pick a wine from 1957. So that almost feels fate, coincidental, supernatural-ish. Like, why would they, 1957 of all the years that they would have picked from? Megan divulges to Mark that she's going to confess anything that they do there, and he's like, I know this ain't Vegas, but we're gonna have to keep this between us. The pervy bro, yeah, as I said, he shows up and he gets murdered loudly. Like, he is screaming and no one in that house hears them. In fact, this house must have the best insulation, the best noise reduction in the walls, because everything in this movie, no one hears anybody in the house getting loudly murdered. It's really fucking stupid. Now, there's a sex scene with Laura and Jeff, and it's hot, and you get to see her ass and her side boob, and it's, God, great body. But you don't see it full on. But then she's in the shower, it shows her tits, and they're amazing. And then it's only from the shoulders down, and then she's putting on her bra, but you can't see her tits. Like, as she's clipping it on, you see like under her boob. So I think the tits in this movie are a body double. It doesn't really matter, I mean, honestly, but fuck, man, her body's incredible. Tits are great, so good stuff there. Slasher movies, you know how I feel about them. Tits are always a bonus. They double the score. No, they don't double the score. And then, okay, so he pretends to be Laura. The killer pretends to be Laura. Jeff comes up and he breaks his neck. Is that what happens there? It seemed like he was like tearing his head off for a second. I thought it was going to turn into like Halloween 3 with the bum, but yeah, I don't know what happens. His neck starts to slip away, but then he just drops him. It could have been a cool kill if he would have just ripped his head off. I mean, the guy seems to have supernatural strength. It would kind of play into the whole supernatural angle they're going with here, but nope. And then, I mean, it's funny because no one hears that, and then they're down in the basement, Megan and Mark, and they're like talking about how someone took an axe to a door, and they're like, "Come on, we would have heard that." No, you wouldn't have. Clearly, you can't hear people screaming at the top of their lungs, so you ain't gonna hear axes. And then I love the shot of when they walk outside and Laura and Jeff are burning on the crosses outside, and it's like raging fire. It's like fucking blazing. It is so intense. I love that shot. It's just so violent, and that's like the coolest kill in the movie. She calls 911, and 911 like reports back like, "Sorry, there's no 911 coverage in your area. You got to call into the actual police station." So she has to like try to call operator and everything. Different times. Then Mark is up on the roof. He's getting stabbed up through the roof. He has to grab onto the knife as he's like falling off the roof, and he just keeps getting pulled out, and his hands keep catching and they're getting cut. That's actually a really cool sequence. I dug that a lot. The killer gets roach spray in his eyes. That shit would blind him. He wouldn't be able to see, but there's some more supernatural proof. She shoots at him like 5 times in a row and misses. And I'm sitting there thinking, this dude's going to walk the earth like Kang from Kung Fu if she misses one more damn shot. But she lands her last shot, and you think he's done. But, of course, he pops up, and he has his aspergillum. I actually had to look up what this word was called, but it's like one of those holy water sprinklers, an aspergillum. And I actually listened to the pronunciation on YouTube. I went like full deep investigatory on this one. But he like, when he does it, it like sprays fire out. It's pretty cool, man. He's like spraying fire at her, which I don't know if that's just how he has that thing rigged or that's more supernatural shit. I don't even know how he found these kids. Like, that's not explained. It's just so random that he killed people in Hamilton High, but then he just so happens to happen upon kids because he was picked up by some dude who he kills randomly. I barely even remembered that moment, but he's out there and then he just comes after these kids. It was fated yet again. Like, that's a stretch. I mean, yet again, as I said, it's all just kind of like, okay, sure, why not? Why wouldn't he find these kids that are miles and miles away from Hamilton School and happen to just go to the school where he did his last murders? And unless I missed the line of dialogue of why he went to that specific house, which is absolutely possible, because my kids were interrupting me literally every 5 minutes during this entire film. So, it was annoying me. Anyway, and then, she burns his ass to death, but then we get the ambulance shot and he wakes up and he's all burnt, but then it hard cuts to her waking up, and I'm like, so are they in two different ambulances and they're waking up simultaneously? Are they connected a la Jamie Lloyd and Michael Myers, or is he possessing her body and they're waking up together in the same moment because he is now her, or whatever spirit was in him, and that's a way to tell us? We don't know. But I only see one ambulance pulling out. We don't see the rest of the ambulance to see if it's a priest in there or a medic or whatnot. So I don't know. I don't know what to take of that. Christian, this is like your favorite movie, man. What do you think? Was it them infused as one, or was this two different characters waking up simultaneously? I see one ambulance pulling away, so I'm going to have to go with the infused thing. So now she has the spirit inside of her, and she's going to kill all sluts. He also has a cross knife, which I actually envisioned before I ever saw this movie for a movie I was writing about a killer priest. So that's all right, though. I mean, you can't ever be original. Even when you're actually original and you thought of it without ever even seeing it, it still has been done. It's the whole South Park, freaking Simpsons did it thing. It's like, no matter what you come up with, no matter how original, no matter how insane it is, you're just like, oh, it's been done. It's been done in this, or it's been done in that. It's like, oh well, whatever. Anyways, I enjoyed it. It's a fine slasher. Top 50, I don't know. I mean, North American, probably not for me, but I could see it. I mean, I could see it. 50 is a lot. So it's possible. And it's number 50. It's not like you put it at number 1 or something insane, or even in the top 10. So 50. I mean, it's like an honorable mention is 50, essentially. So there you go. Anyways, but I think he had like certain ones, like, I can't remember, like Dr. Giggles or something out and not this. Like, Dr. Giggles is way better than this. So if my memory serves me correctly on that, he's wrong on that, but wrong. But anyway, Christian, I love you, man. And there you go. We covered it. Prom Night 4, Deliver Us from Evil in the books. And next time we will be covering the original theatrical version. Where's the unrated cut? Guess I didn't want to pay the extra 50 cents for that one. Anyways, adios.